Welcome to the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. We're streaming live on all social media platforms and podcast streaming channels. Get ready for a revelatory teaching from our apostle, Matthew Tillery.
Well, greetings. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. I am your host, Matt Tillery. Listen, we really appreciate you tonight. Thank you so much for just listening by way of the podcast channels. And to those of you that's watching via Facebook, go ahead and hit the share button. I would greatly appreciate it. And to those that's over on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the ML Tillery Outreach. I would be so honored if you did that. Once again, I'm Matt Tillery, Advancing the Kingdom podcast. Listen, it's going to be a great conversation tonight. Just really excited about my guest tonight, and that's District Court Judge Tia Hudgins Taylor. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Amen. So it's going to be a really great conversation, and just really going to share a lot of things tonight. So before we get started, I always ask this question to every guest. So tonight I'm asking, who is Tia Hudgins Taylor?
So I am a native of Rocky Mount, born and raised, graduated high school from Rocky Mount High in 2012. Went on to play college basketball at Queen's University of Charlotte. After I graduated from undergrad, I went on to law school at Elon University School of Law in Greensboro. After that, I came home, took the bar exam, and started practicing law here in Rocky Mount at a general practice firm, doing criminal defense, real estate, and estate planning. Then I had the opportunity to go and work at the district attorney's office under the Honorable Robert Evans for a few years. And then I went back to private practice, doing real estate, criminal defense, estate planning, family law, some civil stuff, a little bit of everything at a general practice. Before I was appointed by the governor to the judgeship that I'm in right now. My parents are from Martin County. They're from Robertsonville, North Carolina. My dad's a retired Rocky Mount police officer. Mom worked for the city as well. She's retired. They now own a ice cream shop downtown in Rocky Mount, Scoops on Main Street.
So make sure you go get some ice cream. I went there yesterday. So listen, if you're in Rocky Mount downtown, go get some ice cream.
Have two older siblings. I'm married to my husband, Dr. Tevin Taylor. He's a physical therapist here in Rocky Mount. And we have two children, a 2-year-old son and a 6-month-old daughter. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. Awesome. So let's go ahead and talk tonight. So how important to you is representation to you in terms of you being a judge, you appointed by Governor Stein, but I think it's very important that we have some representation in every sphere that we're in. Right.
How important is that to you?
It's very important. Prior to me becoming a judge, Judge Alicia Slaughter was the first African-American female judge in our judicial district to become a judge. And so I would be the second. It's important for people when they walk in that courtroom that they see someone that looks like them. They see someone that relates to them. They see someone that understands their background, understand where they're coming from. I may not have lived the same life as some people, but I can relate. I understand. It may be, even just understanding terminology and different things of that nature. But it's important that you have someone that looks like you when you walk in that courtroom. I've had a young lady come up to me a couple weeks ago, and she said when I walked out, she called her mom and told her mom, it's a Black female judge up there.
Wow. And
so that made a difference for her. She felt comfortable in that courtroom because I was there.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful. As a Black woman, I'm sure you had to face some challenges being a judge. What were some of those challenges? If can you share some of those things tonight?
Right. I think most of my challenges may stem from my age.
Right.
More so than my gender or my race. I think it was proven and showing that I'm capable that I can do the job.
Right.
And I think I've earned it, that respect of my
Right.
colleagues.
Right.
Some of our attorneys are 60, 70, 80 years old. And I see the respect that I've earned
Right.
from them, not just as being a judge, but also during my time as an attorney.
Right.
And that's just being respectful. That's just being nice. That's just being
Right.
trying to be a good human being.
Right.
One thing I always try to do in the mornings, I go in and I sit with the attorneys, not to talk about law, but
Right.
just to catch up. I talk
Right.
to them about my children. I talk to them about my husband, my parents, different things like that, but just trying to connect with them and just build that respect. And so I think that has helped me in the realm of challenges as
Right.
far as, what I look like and who I am.
So building that rapport and that, I guess, relationship piece, that's very important, right?
It is important. That's something that I really hold very high. I mean, not just among the lawyers, among the clerks, among the custodian staff. I speak
Right.
to them. But just building that relationship with everybody is important to me.
Awesome. Powerful. I read a statement where you said, believe that you belong. Talk about that,
Mhm.
because that's very, very powerful in every area
Right.
of our lives. You have to be, particularly when you've been placed in a room, right? And God has put you in that room, and it was God that put you in that room. So you have to believe though that you belong there, right?
That's right. That's right. And I hate to, continue to bring up race, but oftentimes when I was an attorney, we have a back room where the lawyers get together and talk to the assistant DA. And most of the time at that table, I was the only black or the only black female.
Wow.
And there were other white male attorneys there. And
But they didn't intimidate you.
they didn't intimidate me. I'm grateful for the attorneys in our area. Everyone is friendly and we all get along. But I didn't let that intimidate me. I would go and sit at the table right alongside of them.
Right.
And I'm practicing law just as they are.
Right.
And so being confident, walking in the room like you own it. I may not know everything that I need to do, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And sometimes I would sit in that back room and I'm listening and hearing what they're talking about and what
Right.
they're asking for. So that way I can implement that in my practice. And so
Right.
just being confident. I mean, I'm going to walk in the courtroom, with my head up,
Head
and,
up, right.
and pretend like I know what I'm doing.
So do you think that confidence you think that's part of your growing up with your parents and the surroundings that you had?
It is. And I think the biggest thing that I can attribute that to is sports.
Right.
We're a big sports family. My siblings and I play sports year round. And so just like I walk in the courtroom confident, I walked on the court confident.
Right.
And so that carries over into what I do on a day to day. And so my parents instilled that confidence in me. And so that's something that I carry with me now.
Wow. Powerful. Governor Stein, he appointed you a district court judge for districts 8 and 9. What counties are they located in?
So I'm actually just District 8.
Okay.
And that is Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson County. So not just a portion of those counties, but the entire county for Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson.
So you could work any of those counties.
Yep. So we have a courthouse in Nashville, Tarboro, Rocky Mount, and Wilson County.
Wow. So I think for me, just listening to you, these few minutes that we have been on the air, I think for me, the biggest thing that I'm getting so far is that your capacity, right, to come back to your community and be and serve basically what you're doing. I mean, you could have gone anywhere in the state or world, but you came back to the community because you had the capacity for this community. How important is that for you?
Right. So my community has poured into me. And so to me, this is my opportunity to pour back into my community,
Right.
Whether it was teachers, mentors. I talked about my parents working for the city. I don't know how many city employees I would, have shaped my life and different things of that nature. And so I feel like it was only right to come back and to give back in any way that I can, but not also just for me, but for my husband, who's from Rocky Mount as well. both of us could have went anywhere.
Right.
But we decided to come back here. We love Rocky Mount. We love Nash County. It's important to us. This is where our families reside. And so if we can help and have an impact in making our community better in any way, that's what we want to do.
Powerful. Well, I think the community is certainly much better that you came back here. What would you say to the person tonight that's, well, I know what I want to be, but I'm really struggling with that because I don't feel like I can do it. I don't feel like I have the goods to do it. What type of encouragement would you give that person tonight?
I think there's room for anything and everyone, and just knowing that there's room for you. Let's use the ice cream shop, for example. My parents may not own the only ice cream shop in Rocky Mount. There's room for other ice cream shops. There's opportunity for other people to have their own space and to do their own thing. And so I think it's just important for people to just go out there, trust God, utilize your resources, and believe that, you can be successful. Right.
And I often tell people this all the time, and I have to tell myself that this a lot as well, that when God created us, I believe he gave us so many gifts on the inside of us, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think my gift is just to preach. I think that he's given other things like the podcast I'm doing. That was never a part of my agenda, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we have so many things on the inside of us that God has placed on the inside of us. And if we can ever trust God in that one thing, then God, I believe he will open the door for those many things.
That's right. That's right. I think, I'm talking to myself about that as well. And it's like a daily conversation with my mom. She's talking about what's next. What is God going to elevate and have you do next? Right. And I'm sitting there like, look, I'm fine doing what I'm doing. If I stay doing this forever, I'm okay. And she's like, no, you don't know what else God has for you. And so that's something that I think we get comfortable. Yeah. And so I think that's something that I'm, telling myself as well.
Yeah. I think oftentimes, and God sometimes is like, God is like playing or a comedian or something sometimes, right? Because you'll be enjoying some things, right? Mm-hmm. And then God will say, okay, now I'm ready to shift you somewhere else. You say, oh God, I just became comfortable here, right? But that's how he works. And it's amazing sometimes. We just follow his voice. And if we follow his voice, we oftentimes and every time, I believe, see the benefits from that.
That's right.
Yeah. So your seat is up this year in November. How important is it for people to get out and vote? Because I know, and I forgot to pull these percentages up, but it's very low voter turnout, particularly in this region here. Right. How important is it for people to go vote?
It's very important. I think we've gotten to a place where people feel as if their vote doesn't matter.
Right. Especially
among my age group and people my age. And I always tell people, if I'm young enough or old enough to become a judge, then,
right.
Your vote matters. That matters. We make a difference.
Right.
It's important that we go to vote and we fill out the entire ballot. I come from a voting family. And so when we would go vote, we checked every block for all the candidates.
Right.
But I've learned through this process that, some people may just vote in the top races.
Right.
But we need to vote down the ballot, flip it over, vote for every spot that's up there. District court judges matter, our commissioners matter, all of those different positions matter. And so it's important that we go out there, especially now.
Right.
It's important that we get out there and vote, make sure that our voices are heard and that we're putting people in those positions that will fight for us.
Right. And then when we think about those that came before us, right, and the sufferings that they went through and the pain and all of that stuff that they did that gave us really that right to vote. So I think that for me, that was enough. That's all so I was born in 1957. So I seen a lot of stuff, in those years and coming up and stuff. So every time it's time to vote, I'm going to be there. And I pray that you be there as well. Exercise your vote. Your vote do count.
That's right.
So you have a bachelor's degree in sport management from Queen's University in Charlotte. And I guess you initially thought about doing sports and entertainment as a lawyer, and what shifted that? Because that's one of those things that we just talked about it, right?
That's right.
So what we really know what shifted it, but go ahead, please.
Right. So in law school, I was actually the president of the Sport and Entertainment Law Society, and that's what I wanted to do. I think pre-COVID, for me to do sport and entertainment law in North Carolina, I needed to be in a major city. I needed to be in Raleigh. I needed to be in Charlotte. And that's what I was going to do. But during my time in law school, I interned at the Alamance County District Attorney's Office, as well as did a residency at the Guilford County Public Defender's Office. And that's when I really got immersed in the courtroom and saw what was happening in court and what was going on.
Right.
And that's when I realized people needed help.
Right.
They didn't understand the system. They didn't understand what was going on. They didn't understand what was being said. People were nervous. I mean, even just simple things in the courthouse as to where's the bathroom.
Right.
And I remember as an intern, showing someone where the bathroom was. And we really don't realize that most people, when they're in court, that's probably the worst day of their life.
Right, exactly.
And they need some guidance. They need someone to help them. They need someone to advocate for them. And so that's what shifted. And I knew.
So you had a passion for that.
I did.
Wow.
I knew at that point that I needed to go back home to practice law. And so I put the sports and entertainment to the side, and I knew that I had to come back home to help my community.
Wow. So after you've been in court all day dealing with all types of stuff, how do you relax?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know sometimes mentally, has to be pretty strong sometimes. So what do you do after you done had that long day in court,
Right,
dealing with all sorts of issues, and you say you finally get home and just chill?
right.
What are some of those things that really help you to relax?
So I'm going to start with the beginning of my day. I'm up at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
4:30. So I get to the gym and work out with my brother and another group of people that we work out in the mornings at 5 a.m. And that's how I start my day. There's some days that I don't get up, and I may start my day at 7:30 and I'm all thrown off. So that 4:30 wake up, that starts my day. That way, when I'm at court, I'm awake, I'm ready to go. Go through court.
Get those endorphins.
That's right. And then when I get home, how I relax is family time.
Yeah.
I leave work at work as much as I can, and I spend time with my husband and our 2 children. The 2-year-old keeps us on our toes. So that's what my evenings look like. Just spending time with family. My parents and I are very close, so spending time with them. My husband's family is in Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. So just family time is really, how I kind of decompress from the day.
Yeah. How important is family to you?
Very important. I mean, they help shape me. Any interview, anything, I'm talking about my family.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Powerful. So you're November the 8th, correct?
November 3rd.
3rd.
Mm-hmm.
3rd. November the 3rd, not the 8th. You don't go to 8th, you will miss it. November the 3rd.
3rd.
November the 3rd. So, yeah, make sure you go vote November the 3rd. We need to make sure we're exercising our right to vote November the 3rd. What would you say tonight, or not what would you say, but how can folk contact you in terms of if they want to give to your campaign or assist you with some of those things?
So my Facebook page is the best way. It's Judge Tia Hudgins Taylor, District Court Judge on Facebook. There's a link if you want to donate. There's a link if you want to volunteer, or if you need to reach out to us for anything. The Facebook page is the best way to do it and to connect with me and my campaign.
Powerful and awesome. So what's next for you? I know November the 3rd, you will be elected November the 3rd.
Thank you.
Call those things that be not as though they are, right?
That's right.
So you will be elected November the 3rd. And do you see any in terms of anything changing beyond that once you serve that term? Is that something you want to continue to do, or is there something in the back of your head or your spirit that's saying, you don't have to share it tonight, but but there's something that I see beyond all of that?
Right. So for me right now, this is what I plan to do. I actually will be on the ballot again in 2028.
Oh, awesome.
So we have a 2-year turnaround. For me, two things that I really want to shift and focus on once I'm done campaigning. I really want to focus on the health of our attorneys.
Wow.
I care about that.
Right.
I'm able to disconnect and leave work at work, but that's not the case for other attorneys.
Wow.
And so I really want to focus on the mental health of our attorneys. And then I also want to focus on the youth as well. My sister and my brother are very gifted in working with children.
Right.
And that gift kind of missed me a little bit. And so I want to get some people in place that have that gift. So that way we can talk with them. This is what an attorney does. This is what a prosecutor does. This is, your judge and what your judge does. And so that way they're not afraid of court and they understand, how the court system works. But, they may aspire to be an attorney or a judge in other professions as well. And so really just reaching out to the youth and showing, hey, I was capable, you're capable of doing it as well.
Powerful. And we need that type of mentorship here, in not just in Rocky Mount, but all of the country. We need that type of mentorship that you can share your skill set, your experiences, and not only that, but the encouragement that you bring. I think that piece is probably, for me, is probably more important than all the other stuff, right? So because they need the young people, and I need to be encouraged too, but we all need that encouragement, right?
That's right.
Because we believe it, we see so many young people, and sometimes they be crying out, and we don't know that, right?
That's right.
But a lot of times, a lot of those actions, I think, is because they're crying out and nobody's listening.
That's right. I see that a lot in our juvenile delinquency cases. And juvenile court isn't there to punish. We're there to help.
Right.
And so for me, that's my opportunity to talk to this young person and say, what is it that you need?
Right.
What can we do to help you?
And that's why you need to be elected, because we need that type of mentorship, even though, you're still going to do the right thing and all of those things, but still just to hear that, right? From a judge.
That's right.
That looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's very powerful.
Right. And that understands TikTok and Instagram and all that.
Right. Wow. And one of the things that we're seeing in terms of the mental health piece with the younger people. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the suicide rate is up.
It is.
So we're seeing a lot of things transpire in that area, and certainly what you're going to bring to that table and in that room is very powerful, and I think is much needed.
Thank you.
So we really appreciate that. What else would you like to share tonight?
I think just how important our district court judges are. I think one question I get all the time is, what do I do as district court judge?
Right.
And so I can talk about that a little bit. I am one of 7 judges in our district, and we rotate between courthouses and courtrooms, and we hear various different matters.
Right.
So we hear criminal matters, your traffic matters. We hear your civil cases, so your summary ejectment appeals, money owed appeals from small claims court. We do divorces, child custody, mental health, juvenile delinquency, your juvenile abuse, neglect, dependency, mental health. So there's a lot of different areas of law that we cover. And so on a day-to-day, we're hearing different things from different areas of law.
Right.
And so it's important that, we have judges in there that are capable to do the job.
Right. So, and I'm sure it is, but are there other judges that you kind of say, this is my mentor, or, because you kind of look up to those certain people because you see what they're doing and how they're doing it, the integrity of it, and all of those things. And that basically becomes an influence to you.
Right. So everybody who knows me knows I'm going to say Judge Matt Sparata. So
Yeah, I met him.
Yeah. So kind of, how we met, my dad and Judge Sparata, who was then an attorney, they met at a gas station filling up gas. And he gave my dad his information and gave me the opportunity to come and shadow him while I was in law school. And so I shadowed him for a week or two. And then I went on with law school, took the bar, came back home and started practicing somewhere else. And while I was at the DA's office, Matt offered me a job. And so I went to work at his practice with him. And he taught me so much. He is my mentor. He just showed me how to do a lot. Everything he knew, he tried to, give that knowledge to me.
Right.
And in the middle of his campaign, while he was campaigning for judge, this seat came open and he was the first person to say, I think you should put your name in the hat for it.
Wow.
And even while he's running the campaign and focusing on what he's focusing on, he still thought enough about me to encourage me. And so Matt is somebody I count on. One of my friends, she said, Matt is your father in the law.
Wow.
And so I know I can call on Matt and his wife for anything. If I have a question, I ask Matt. And I had one of the other judges, he said, you don't ever ask questions. And I said, I just asked Matt.
You ask him, but I got you. Well, it's good to have that type of mentorship and father, even in terms of being able to lead and guide you in the right direction, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so we all need that in our lives.
We all need that.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And the other part is that, he's not selfish.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to keep all this stuff. So, but that's a sign of great leadership when you can pour into other people, right?
That's right.
When you try to hold all this stuff to yourself and you don't want to share anything with anybody, that's not leadership at all.
Right. And
it's a ship going down very quickly.
That's right. And so seeing him do that for me makes me do that for others.
Right.
We were at a community event and we were sitting at the table together. And after the event, he got up and he left. And I said, where did he go? And he went and gave his business card to a young lady that wanted to, learn about law. And so now for me, I'm trying to find those opportunities so I can help someone like he helped me.
Wow. Powerful. Well, 7:28, our time is almost come to an end. 2 more minutes. Just really appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight and just really sharing. November the 3rd. Make sure you go to the polls. November the 3rd, not the 8th, November the 3rd. Make sure you go to the polls and vote. Really appreciate your heart. Just appreciate what you're doing with the young people. And just really a blessing to be able to go into a courtroom and see that type of representation in the court. Now, it doesn't mean that if you've done some stuff, whatever,
right.
but still, I think it makes a difference. And then how you encourage them and pour back into them, even in that setting, in that situation.
Right.
So really appreciate that. Hey, listen, I'm Matt Tillery and really appreciate you all tuning in tonight. If you're over on Facebook, go ahead and hit the share button. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the ML Tillery Outreach. And if you're listening by way of the podcast channels, we really appreciate you. Thank you for all of the downloads. Listen, it's been a great conversation tonight. Judge Tia Hudgins Taylor, go vote November the 3rd. District Court Judge. Listen, I appreciate you once again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Amen. Listen, I'm Matt Tillery. Until next Monday night at 7 p.m. Go and advance the kingdom.
We pray you have been empowered and blessed by this teaching. Join us next week for the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. If you would like to reach us, email us at mltillery@icloud.com.